What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to 100% Mags. As you can see by the people on stream, of course, I am joined by Luca and, of course, Josh from TrueGooner and Luca from, of course, Luca Talks Dons on the channel today, because it is that time of year once again. It is time for Newcastle to take on Arsenal. And I mean, last year we had an absolutely fantastic time against Arsenal. We really had an enjoyable time in North London last year as well against the North London boys. And this time, hopefully, we can redo that again in this game on Sunday, 4:30 kickoff. But before we get into the preview, let's, of course, welcome the guests to the channel. So, starting with you, Josh, mate.
Yeah, big up, Carl, man. Great to be back with you, my friends. Of course, every year, we do this, and it's good to have a catch up, man. And obviously, both the teams and massive game. Really looking forward to it. On the Sunday, going to St James's Park, a place where we've struggled in the recent years. And as you rightly said, man, you had Eddie Howe, and you boys had our number last year. In the cup matches, and I think it's the only game where you beat you was at the Emirates, wasn't it? Towards the end of the season, which is like we had nothing really to play for ourselves. The league was done, but we're really looking forward to it, man. And thanks so much for having me back on, man.
Yeah, pleasure having you back on, mate. Luca, do you want to?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on as always. Much appreciated. Always look forward to this fixture towards at the start of the season or during the season. Newcastle v Arsenal. Going to be a tough game on the weekend, but I'm looking forward to it, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, mate. So, with that being said, let's of course get into talking about this game. I mean, Arsenal's been doing reasonably well so far this season, and we've had a bit of a shaky start to the season, but you can see, with the way we've been playing, that we've got, that ability there. We're just lacking that final third, but it's starting to click now, as we're seeing in the game against Brentford in the Cup. Or Bradford, in the Cup. And we're doing really well in that. So, we're starting to see the team clicking together now. And obviously it was going to take time. But, I mean, what's your thoughts, on the Newcastle side of things, how we've been playing? Like I say, yourselves, you've been doing really well. Couple of injury problems at the moment, but we'll get into that a little bit further into the video. But what's your thoughts, lads? Starting with you, Luca, mate.
Newcastle, this is going to be a tough game on the weekend because Newcastle were not the Newcastle what they were of last season. And we know that St James's Park, hostile ground, difficult place. You played in the Champions League the other week against Barca. And I know you lost the game and all that. But of course, it's always going to be a difficult place to go to, especially if you're challenging for a title race. And then, of course, with Arsenal, we don't have a great record at St James's Park. The last time we won at St James's Park was that Jorginho masterclass, 2-0 in the 2022 season. And this is why I feel like you guys are still a good team on paper. You can't underestimate Newcastle. I know Newcastle have lost Isak and them lot there. Yeah. But Newcastle still you've got that new striker from Stuttgart, who's meant to be the next Messi, German Messi. And then of course you've got Anthony Gordon. And then you've got people like Guimarães, Tenale and all them lot, Joe Linton. Of course, we've got Ødegaard back on the weekends. We've got Saka fit now, of course. I know he came off against Port Vale, but that's a League One opposition. But it's a tough game. It's a massive game now because Liverpool have got Crystal Palace this weekend. Yeah. We go to Newcastle. It's doom and gloom. We lose that game, league title's gone. Because that means we'll be 8 points behind Liverpool in 6 games already. It's like syndrome of last season, where we weren't really in the title race. That's why it's a massive game. And look, Newcastle may not be the Newcastle what people see, but you're still a good team at St James's Park. You've got quality players. And I don't want to see no Declan Rice and Mika Moreno in that midfield. That doesn't work. You need to play Zubimendi in that 6. And then you play Rice in the 8 and Eze in the 10. Because Eze came on against a League One opposition the other night against Port Vale. Eze fits the bill in the number 10. Eze is better because Gyökeres is not getting the service. Because that's why we're not playing Eze in the 10. But this manager, Mikel Arteta, ended up putting Eze not playing against Liverpool but comes on changes the game. Man City last week, that was the worst 45 minutes I have ever witnessed against Man City. And Arsenal fans were confident going in against Man City. We slapped these lot in January, 5-1, right? And then that City game, we were lucky to get a draw out of that game. Thanks to Eze and Martinelli. The performance was poor until towards the end, but you can't underestimate Newcastle. Sunday, 4:30, pressure's going to be more on us. More on us. Because we're not playing very well at the moment, and Mikel Arteta needs to like tweak things a little bit. You have to start Eze against Newcastle. Yes, it was against Port Vale. Yes, it was against a League One opposition. We get that, but you have to start your best players going into Newcastle. Because if I look, not to disrespect Miko Moreno, yeah, he's a good squad player, but him and Rice does not fit the perfect bill.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I mean, the way Arsenal's been looking, they've been looking a bit like shaky and stuff like that in the games. And I mean, Liverpool haven't looked all that great themselves, to be honest. They've looked really bad, getting very late goals, to seal their wins in the game. So I don't know if I'd agree fully on the title being over for years just yet. I think it's still very early doors at the moment for anybody.
Well, it's early doors because obviously it's 6 games into the season, but Arsenal would have to like make a huge go on a good run, because I think after Newcastle we've got the likes of West Ham, Fulham, and all them, and we've got Champions League in between, and then we've got Brighton, I think, in the Carabao Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we've got those. So they are winnable games, but of course, when you've got Champions League coming up, then you've got the international break coming up in 2 weeks. It's about squad rotation, and that's why we have to win this weekend.
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Josh, mate, or do you have different views to what Lucas got there? Or?
No, I do agree. For me, I mean, firstly on you, boy, as well. I made you lot this season. Obviously, you always decide that. When I go into this game against you, I kind of fear a little bit in terms of, because you always got that physical battle. You're such a physical team, and especially because it's at St James's Park on Sunday. I remember a few years ago, I think when you done us 1-0. I think Havertz put in a mad tackle, and then your crowd, you got pumped up from it, and we literally woke up your crowd big time. And when your stadium is rocking like that, it's very hard to. I think it plays a big factor. I think we saw that quite a bit last season when you was in Champions League as well. 2 years ago against PSG, that crazy when we destroyed them. And even against Barcelona at times, I thought we had a good start against Barcelona, man. I watched the game and I was like, you know what, Newcastle, I thought you approached the game really well, and you had a few good chances against them. And obviously just Marcus Rashford in the end just was incredible. And, that second goal was, but then even you pulled the goal back, didn't you, towards the end? You pulled, you guys pulled the goal back towards the end, and I was thinking, you lot can get something. And it was even when you play Liverpool as well, start of the season. I thought you gave him a good game, man. I thought you gave him such a really good game. So when I look at you boys, obviously the big miss is going to be Isak for you this season, but you've got in I can never say the guy's name properly. Woltemade. Woltemade. There we go. Obviously you brought him in, and he's looked promising. So, but of course, like, you're not really going to replace Isak. Isak was incredible for you lot. He's one of the best strikers there is, and has been for many, many seasons. So when I look into this game, I think we're in for a very tough game. I think we're in for a very, very physical battle. I look into your midfield, the likes of Tonali, the likes of Bruno, Joe Linton as well. And I think if we're not careful, and if you're more physical than us, I think you can definitely get something out of the game. But as just quickly on Arsenal, we ain't been good enough this season whatsoever. And for me, it's down to this manager, Mikel Arteta. He keeps digging himself in these little holes every single game by making these ridiculous decision-making and making these ridiculous team selections. Like you saw against Man City, he played Mikel Merino and he kept Eze on the bench. We signed Eze, new signing it, everyone's buzzing. Yeah, top-class player. And he went with Mikel Merino, Rice and Zubimendi. We had no creativity. So at the end of the day, like, this season's been poor for Arsenal so far. We have already conceded 1 goal in open play, but we already knew how good our defense was. I think we've got one of the best defenses in the Premier League, if not the best, one of the best in Europe. It's all about now in the offensive side of the game and attacking. Arteta he's such a stubborn manager when it comes to like sort of he always wants to like prove a point. Yeah, and for me, I don't see him having no plan B. And that's a big thing with us this season, man. I don't think the league's done yet because it's still early days. But Liverpool, and as you rightly said, Carl, Liverpool are not even looking good. But the difference with them is they're still getting results somehow in some way. The amount of last-minute goals that they're getting. And I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about us. In terms of people who say Liverpool are going to drop points. I don't care about Liverpool dropping points because it's down to us. We can still drop points this season. We proved it 14 draws last year, and we've already proved it the way we were playing. So I think we're in for a very tough game, man, against you lot on Sunday.
Yeah, some great points there by both of you, by Luca and yourself there, Josh, mate. Yeah, it's going to be one of them games where it comes down to the midfield battle, and it's usually always the case when it's, us against yous. It's always that midfield battle, and when you look at the midfield for us, you've got the likes of Sandro Tonali in there, Bruno in there, Big Joe in there. Then you look at the midfield for yourselves, you've got the likes of Ødegaard, Declan Rice in there as well, so it's always down to that midfield battle, and that's where the game is pretty much dictated by that. If we can come out on top in that midfield battle, like I've said, we've got some really good talent there, as have Hugh's got some decent talent there as well in that midfield section. But looking at the team news, from the Arsenal side of things, we heard a little bit from Luca there, saying there and all that he's got Ødegaard back into the team.
Yeah, Ødegaard might be back the weekend. Arteta said in his press conference this morning.
Yeah, and then you've got some of the information, if it's correct, here from what I've got. Noni Madueke, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, and is it Henkapi? Yeah, he's been ruled. All of them have been ruled out. Is that true?
Yeah, Noni Madueke is out for 6 to 8 weeks, but he's still waiting for that scan, I believe.
So, do you think any of them being out would really dictate how this game works?
Well, the thing with Noni Madueke, right? Like, I think for me, like when we signed him in the summer, obviously, look, I don't want to be too critical because he's done very well this season. I don't want to be so negative, but when, of course, we were linked with him, many Arsenal fans never wanted Noni Madueke because of the whole Chelsea connection. But he's come in and he's probably been one of our best players. Like, you look at the Liverpool game, was quality, right? You look at the game against Forest, set it up Zubimendi's goal, right? And the previous game, right, against Man City. And when Bukayo Saka came back, people were thinking, oh, is Saka ready to start against Man City? And he looked a bit rusty against a League One opposition against Port Vale. Noni Madueke, fair play, right? We all didn't want him in the first place. But he's a fan's favourite. He's doing very well for us, and he's actually coming and actually hit the ground running. Whether it's come down to Mikel Arteta, different side, maybe different team, different style, but it's a blow. Like early in the season, 6 to 8 weeks is really not nothing. But if you're talking about after Christmas or anything like that, then that's a different story. Then you've got a problem with it. But he's been really good this season, Noni Madueke. And look, and I've backed him. Everyone else has backed him as well. People who have gone to the games or watched it on telly and that. But Noni Madueke has been superb. With Kai Havertz, look, it's a shame on him. Will he come back and come good? I don't know. But with Hikapi as well, I look forward to see him. I don't really know who he is. I've never watched him play, so I can't criticise him. But with even Gabriel Jesus, there's rumours that West Ham and Everton want Jesus. And I think in January, we do need to sign a winger in January. I still think we do need that wide player because people talk about, Martinelli's been on good form at the moment. But this is what he does. He has a couple of good games, and then he goes misfiring. So let's hope we can give positive and stick with Martinelli and see if we can get the Martinelli back from 2-3 years ago in that 2022 season. Because, look, we all love Martinelli, of course. He's a fan's favourite. He's a character. We like when he performs. We like all Arsenal players to perform and succeed. But you've got to do it on a consistent basis. And so far, he's done it. And I feel like we've got people like Martinelli and Trossard are coming off the bench and doing what's required. But we've got to keep doing it. We've got to keep them going. I still think we need that big winger. We haven't really replaced that Alexis Sanchez, that kind of gold, shiny winger that's going to come in and actually hit. I still think you're not going to get Rodrigo and them lot in January, but if we can go and get people like Semenyo for assistance, that would be a great signing if we want to go on and win trophies.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, at the moment, you just need to be getting a little bit more attacking quality into there. And like you have said already, you know, Arteta doesn't seem to really have a plan B. He just seems to throw things at it. If it doesn't work, then it's pretty much game over for you. And we've seen that, you know, last season in the times that we played yous. And we've seen it pretty much in other games that we've played yous as well. And it always seems to be sort of a similar recurring theme. I mean, Josh, mate, do you agree with Luca there, or do you have a different opinion on that?
On Arteta?
Yeah, on what Luca was just saying about the Madueke and
Madueke and Martinelli.
Yeah.
Listen, for me, like Madueke, I think he's proved a lot of people wrong so far. You know, because I was a big doubt of him when we signed him. I was quite confused about the signing because we paid £52 million, and I think the big thing as well was the fact he played for Chelsea, and you know we signed a lot of Chelsea players, like ex-Chelsea players, and they all, you know, like half of them are rejects that we signed, and it's just like that was a big thing. Then you pay a lot of money for him, and I never really got the hype around his name when he's at Chelsea, but he's came in and probably been one of our best players this season. To be fair to him, you know, I think as long as he can do it consistently now. You know, and I know he's injured, he's going to come back from injury, but if he can keep it consistent, you know, week in, week out, and for the rest of the season, I'll put it on my hands. I'm going to say, you know what, fair play on the sign. You know, Arteta, Berta, you know, they got this one right, you know, but he's got to do it consistent because we have too many winners who are inconsistent. You know, you think about Gabriel Martinelli, falling off a cliff. Yeah, you think about Trossard, not the same winner that he was. He only won Saka, but even the risk about Saka if he overplays, if he plays too many games, you know, that's the risk there. So Madueke, you know, he's looked a lot more better sort of in an Arsenal shirt than he did at Chelsea. And he's looking really good so far. He just brings that something different, man. Like especially against some of these teams who play like the slow block as well. Teams who really sit back and we struggle to break down. He's one of those players who can sort of unlock that. You know, he's one of those players who give you something a bit different. But the big thing for me, which I'll say about Noni Madueke, and like most winners in Premier League, most winners in the world, and as a winner, if you got end products, then you're for me a top class winner. And unfortunately for Madueke, in terms of his end products, he ain't got that for me. That's something he needs to really work on because he makes all the right decisions, can do his man, can make drive into the space, can create space really well. It's that final ball. It's that final moment. The end product. If he can sort that out in his game, I think he could be a very, very good signing. So, yeah, I've been impressed with what I've seen, but it needs to be more consistent. It needs to be, you know, for the rest of the season. I don't want him falling off a cliff like all the other winners have. To be fair. And as for Martinelli, well done to him for scoring 2 goals. But when you actually start a game and perform like that, then we can actually have a conversation about if we're going to be back or not. But he's been very poor in the recent years. So, yeah, that's up there, man.
Yeah, I'd agree with them assessments on the Arsenal players, Madueke and Martinelli. I think, to be honest, you know, Madueke, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, and Hincapié, not being available for the game, I think that'll be a big boost for us.
But we still got Mosquera. We still got Mosquera for Arsenal.
Yeah, because he's a decent player as well. But Kai Havertz being out, I mean, I've always, you know, when we come up against Arsenal, same with other teams, every time we've come up against Kai Havertz, even when he wasn't at Arsenal, he's a player that I don't like to play because of his, you know, dirtiness that he does. He gets in, he elbows players, he, you know, does some rough tackles like was mentioned already. I think it was yourself or Josh mentioned it about the tackle that he did at St James's a while back on Sean Longstaff. And I mean, he always does them kinds of things in the games, so I'm glad that he's not going to be available for this game. But if Ødegaard is available, like you say, Luca, for that, that's going to be obviously a little bit of a boost
But
for
he'll probably be
yourselves.
on the bench. He'll probably be on the bench because
Yeah.
obviously he's just coming back from injury.
Yeah, so that'll be like a bit of a boost for yourselves going into the game. And I mean, looking at the record of the past 5 games, past 5 meetings at St James's Park against yourselves, I mean, it's looking really positive for us Newcastle United fans. I mean, we've taken 3 out of the last 4 home league meetings where we haven't conceded a goal in it. The recent meeting, of course, was 1-0 last season. Isak scoring the goal. Obviously, he's not there anymore because he's ran off to Liverpool. The season before that was obviously a 1-0 with Gordon scoring the goal. The 22-23 season, of course, seen yourselves get a 2-0 win over Way. Then, of course, the 21-22 season seen an own goal by Ben White and Bruno scoring to make it 2-0. And then, of course, the 2021 season seen yous win as well there. So, I mean, 3 wins out of the past 5 games. It's not a bad return on games for us Newcastle United fans. I mean, what do you think looking at that, at that record there?
I think for me, looking at the record itself, it speaks for itself when you see the record. It's not been the greatest record at St James's Park. Like, I remember the day when Arsenal used to go there and just win, and we used to always do the double over them. Like, I remember the COVID days, we used to go win it. I think it was the 1920 season, start the season, Aubameyang scored. We wore that yellow bruised banana shirt.
Yeah,
And recently ourselves, of course, it's always going to be a difficult place to go to, and you're going to have periods where, of course, you're playing against a team and you're going to have bad records because many teams don't win. Chelsea, resistance. Newcastle have a very good record at St James's Park.
yeah,
And I remember back in the day, Arsenal used to always beat Newcastle back in the day at St James's Park. But it's just a bogey side. It's always been our bogey side like for the last few years. And I just feel like this Sunday we need to put it right because we don't do well at these sort of grounds like Anfield. I thought the Liverpool game itself, if Eze would have started that game, I reckon we don't lose that game because that first half against Liverpool, if Eze starts that game, we get something out of that game. But even when we won at Old Trafford, look, Old Trafford, of course, is anyone can beat Man United at Old Trafford. You know what I'm saying? But Newcastle, it's going to be hard. And look, the midfield is going to be interesting now because if we start Moreno against the likes of Tonali, Guimarães and Joe Linton, I'm not confident going into that game because I don't trust Mikel Moreno in midfield with Declan Rice because we've not seen it work. And this is why even you got to throw in someone like an Eze in there or an Ethan Wanyerny, someone who's got like strong legs and all that, strong, good physicality and ability to stop the likes of them lot. Because when we played you in that 2022-2023 season, Newcastle midfield, we managed to do it. Like we had Ødegaard, Rice, and I'm not going to mention the other midfielder's name because obviously he's at Villarreal. But however, look, it's going to be all about the midfield. That's the most important thing is, and I know we've got to be up for the task. And if we get the first goal, I'm confident we can get something out of the game. But if normally we've seen it, even the game last season when Isak scored, we barely created anything in that game. I can't even remember a single chance. All I can remember, there was a chance at the end near towards it. I think it was a Declan Rice chance. I could be wrong, or a free kick. But we can't have performances like that. If you want to win the league, and if you want to overtake Liverpool and the Man City, you've got to go to these places and battle. Just think about the passes when you've won the league in 1989, 2004, 98, going to all these sort of grounds. Just going back and watch those clips and just look at those players and thinking, okay, St James's Park, Anfield, Etihad. You've got to pick up results. You can't go there and get bullied. Because if you get bullied, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, it's always really tough. That's what we always say, as Newcastle United fans. I mean, rival fans coming to St James's, just any team coming to St James's, really, it's always a tough environment for them to come and play at. especially under the lights. Obviously, it's a 4:30 kickoff, so it's not probably going to be under the lights for that one, I don't think, to be honest. But, I mean, your thoughts, Josh, mate, going into this, looking at that record, does that worry you? Or?
Yeah, it does a bit. It does a bit, to be fair. As I said, when we first started this about the physical battle, you guys are really physical sides. I know you've also proved in the years that we played each other that you can, sort of defend as well against us and make it frustrating for Arsenal. I remember the 0-0 game a few years ago when you came to the Emirates, rocked up, and great result for you guys. But that's when we was in a title race and we dropped points and we were streaming about that. So you've definitely proved over the years. I do like Eddie Howe as a manager still. I really do. Obviously winning you boys the cup last season was absolutely incredible. And the season you guys had as well, I thought you was a really, really good side. Obviously got you Champions League football once again, and you're back in Champions League. So always coming into this game feeling a bit on edge. But as long as we set up right, and it's going to be down to the manager and his team selection again for me. If we set up, naive and if we set up not wanting to lose the game, then we will be in trouble. If we go with Mikel Merino in the midfield again, if we go with Zubimendi and Rice, we'll be in trouble. If there's no creativity, we'll be in trouble. Because a big thing, people could talk about, we signed Victor Gyökeres, but we've really struggled to play to the guy's strengths. We've really struggled to play to his services. And that's obviously down to, the manager at the end of the day. So if, he's going to have to be fired up for it. And it's not like he's ghosting games. He's trying to get involved, but we're just not playing. The system's not suiting him. And that's down to the manager. The manager chooses these decisions and the manager picks these decisions. So I think it could be a very, very cagey, very tight game. And it can go any way for me. I'm not confident, though. I'm not confident the way we've been playing this season. Defensively, cool. Maybe you will find it hard to score against us. But all it takes is like a penalty. All it takes is one lack of concentration. And you could make another 1-0. Because obviously the last couple of results in the Premier League finished 1-0 to Newcastle. Like 2 years in a row. And obviously in the cup, you'd done us with like 2-0, wasn't it? In the semi-final. So
2-0, I think it was,
Yeah. And I think there's still that record going that in the last 2 seasons at St. James's Park, I think even the Carabao Cup game, we've had like 2 shots on target in like 3 years against you lot. So you could actually sit there and really make it frustrating for Arsenal, and you could nick a 1-0 win. But I know we'll probably do predictions towards the end, but I'm feeling a draw, to be honest, mate. I'm not confident at all.
Some good stuff. It's making me feel even more confident on this game. I'm telling you now, lads. So it's making me feel a lot more confident for this game. I mean, we do have a really good record against you. I am really looking forward to this one. And yeah, I mean, looking at it, the news of your players that are out, then of course looking at that record, there's a lot there that's pushing it towards, of course, us, the home field advantage as well. The atmosphere at St. James Park, there's a lot of stuff pushing it towards us being, the victors in this game. But, I mean, that can also have, and I hate to be that kind of person, but could also have a negative effect on us as well going into the game. Because, the pressure is pretty much pushed towards us in the game. There's obviously also pressure on yourselves as well, as you have said. You need to get the results because you're going for a Premier League title, as are ourselves and everybody else in the league, going for the Premier League title. But of course, you guys have been there, quite a few times now, challenging for that title and missing out on quite a few occasions because of the way Mikel Arteta has been, doing his business in the dugout for years. But I mean, looking at it, we've got every chance of getting another clean sheet, hopefully, and we've got a chance, of making another victory against Arsenal at St. James's Park. And I mean, looking at the Newcastle team news going into it, of course, this is some news that you will probably be quite happy to see. Jacob Ramsey, really good player, brought him in from Aston Villa this season. He's not going to be available. Johan Wissa, brought in from Brentford this season, obviously not going to be available as well. Both of them out until after the international break in October. They won't be back, I think, until the Brighton game. in October. And then, of course, Fabian Shaw is out as well with that concussion protocol. And this will be his last game that he'll be out for. He'll be back after this game, of course. So just missing out on this game with it being the last one. And looking at what Eddie's revealed this morning in his press conference heading into this game, of course, there's a slight doubt over the likes of Jacob Murphy, who has picked up a knock in training. So maybe we might see him in the game, either on the bench or start. But I think, to be honest, we'll probably go with Anthony Elanga in the starting position. And I do believe this is a first game back for Anthony Gordon as well after that suspension. He is back available for this one, so I would expect to see Flash playing down that left wing. But we'll get into that, of course, when we do a little bit of a combined 11 to, of course, see out the video. But, I mean, like I say, really, really positive going into this one. I'm feeling very confident with this one as well. But, yeah, let's look at, of course, the ref for the game, Jared Gillette. First Newcastle assignment of the season. Last officiated were 4-1 defeat at Villa, and he oversaw a dramatic 4-3 home win over Nottingham Forest back in February, of course. And on VAR, it's Darren England. So again, it's another Scouse and Manchester contingent, something that, us Newcastle United fans know. Strangers too will see this on a regular basis when Newcastle play games. There's always a Merseyside or Manchester contingent there, dealing with our games on the officiating side of things. And I mean, let's go straight in it. Let's talk about the predicted 11 between the two sides. So going with the goalkeeper first, you'd expect it to be probably Nicky Pope in goal up against, I'm guessing, David Raya. So,
yeah.
Which one?
For me, Raya,
choose there?
obviously Golden Glove winner for the past 2 years. I do rate him really highly. I think we had our doubts when he first came in from Brentford, but I think he's been, really, really good. Excellent shot stopper. There's still a few times, like the way how Arteta wants Arsenal to play, obviously out from the back. There's so many times where I still think he can work on his distribution a little bit. There's a few dodgy balls that he does, but majority of the time, I think he's a very, very good goalkeeper, man. I do rate Pope as well, to be fair. Obviously, you boys have got Ramsdale as well, don't you now?
We've got Ramsdale, yeah.
So, I mean, Ramsdale was really good at Arsenal, but then he just, Raya came in and overtook him, and then, unfortunately for him, he's gone down to, I think he went Southampton, didn't he? He got relegated, and then now second choice for, obviously, you boys. So, I think Raya just edged it, in my opinion.
David Raya for you, Josh, yeah, mate?
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah.
Who do you think, Luca?
I think for me, right, you've got to go with David Raya because, look, my only issue I have with David Raya is, of course, his distribution isn't that great, and I don't like the way Mikel Arteta plays from the back, because I noticed a few games this season, or even last season and pre-season, whenever it was, David Raya seems to come out and make a few mistakes, and I feel like, look, I know the way a manager sets out and plays, if you want to play that position, we can't do anything about it. It's how Mikel Arteta and the style, how we play. But I just feel like Arteta needs to kind of like change the style with David Raya and maybe change the style at the back.
Yeah.
Like, I know when we've been challenging for the league title and all that, and we've come close on a couple of occasions, he's always done it like that. And David Raya, of course, has played in the Championship. He even played non-league as well, which I didn't know that until I saw him when he first signed. I don't know which team he played for in non-league, but however, David Raya, I've probably got to say he edges it over Nick Pope, because Raya, of course, look, don't get me wrong, Nick Pope's a really good goalkeeper. People talk about should he be England's #1 goalkeeper for the future. Like at the moment for England, look, they don't know which #1 goalkeeper to pick these days. And look, Aaron Ramsdale, of course, has come in. He's actually done a good, fantastic job. And look, Ramsdale was not great at Southampton because Southampton don't have a good team for themselves and their defence is poor. And I'm not trying to like cuss out Southampton, but however, I probably have to go with David Raya just about.
So David Raya for yous. I think Nicky Pope is a good shout. Really good goalkeeper. Very, very good at keeping out the shots. But he has been having a bit of trouble of late. He's a bit of a problem with, kicking the ball out as well. So I think we'll go with David Raya in at the goalkeeping position from the Arsenal side of things. Moving on to the right back, you've got, Tino here, you've got Trippier here, you've got, your guys in there as well. I'm struggling to remember who's in right back for Arsenal.
During Timber.
Yeah, so you've got Timber in there as well.
Ben White as well.
Who's that, sorry, mate?
Ben White as well.
Ben White as well. So out of them, players there, I think it's got to be Tino Livramento. England's number one right back. Future England all-star left right back. He's versatile player as well. He can play left back at if he wants to. And for me, I would go with Tino there all day long. But I mean, what would you go with?
For me, I mean, this is quite a tough one because I love Timber. Timber's one of my favorite Arsenal players. He's been phenomenal for us, and I think he's one of the best right backs in the Premier League. But as you said with Livramento, he's also really stepped up for you lot. Every time I've watched him, I really do rate him really highly. So this one is probably one of the toughest positions I think we're gonna do today, man. In this Command 11, it's because Livramento is top class as well. But Timber for me, he's been because he when we first signed him, we bought him from Ajax and. He started as Arteta played him as a left back. He's naturally a right back, and Arteta played him left back, and he played really well there. But then his first season, he got ACL injury, so he's out for the whole season. And then to come back from that and the way how he did, and we played PSG last year in the semi-final of Champions League, and he played through an injury, and he was one of our best players playing through injury, by the way. So I love the resilience of this guy. Going forward, he's excellent. Defensively, he's solid. He's rock solid as well. He's got the physicality. He's one of my favorite Arsenal players. So I'm gonna have to back Timber for this one, but I guess it's down to Luca to decide. I don't know.
I think for me, I'd probably have to go with Dewey and Timber on this one because look, don't get me wrong, right? No, I have to go with Dewey and Timber because Timber for me, I know when he first come in at Arsenal, he missed out the whole season because of that injury against Forest, but Timber's been consistent, and even you look at past games, especially in the Champions League, like Timber has stopped some world-class players on his day. Like you can name not the PSG game when we lost in the semi, but the one in the group stage phase when he stopped people like Bradley Bukola and them lot. So you've got to edge it with Dewey and Timber.
I think I'm going to pull rank on this one.
Fair enough. We need another Newcastle fan, so two versus two because it's 2-1 at the moment.
I'm going to put Tino in there for that one.
Fair play. He's really good, Livramento. He's really good, to be fair.
That moves on to the centre back, lads. In TI, you've got the likes of for ourselves, Big Dan, obviously Fabs if he was fit, but he's not. So Mali Chow, Sven Portman. Also other players in there as well, so them are the options from Newcastle. The options for you guys at centre back, you've got Gabriel,
Saliba,
Mosquera
has been playing really well this season.
So out of them options, who would you choose in at the centre back role?
For me, Gabriel and Saliba all day long.
Gabriel and Saliba.
Yeah, I mean, who would you say has been your best centre back in the recent sort of season?
Recent seasons, I'd say Dan Burn's been really good.
Yeah, Dan Burn I've been really impressed with, man. You think about the cup as well when you won it last season.
Yeah.
When he played against us as well, always a nightmare to sort of deal with. Gave our strikers and attackers some problems, I think. So yeah, big up to Dan Burn. I actually think Gabriel's been our best centre back. A lot of people would say Saliba, from outsiders, but I think Gabriel's been the better defender. I think he's been our best defender, so he certainly gets in there. Saliba's played well, but I still think at times like he's looked a bit too. The way he plays, he's so composed on the ball. He's so, he's so like chill when playing out from the back. That's what of his game. But at times I think he's too overconfident. At times I think he is a bit too comfortable, and he got caught out, a few times last season. So for me, it's got to be Gabriel and Saliba though. I'll be real. I'll be real. But I think Dan Burn should be there as well, like up for debate.
I think we'll do it like that, maybe. That way we each get somebody in at the centre-back role.
That's fair enough.
It's probably fair.
I don't mind that, yeah.
Then that moves on to the left-backs. Yeah, for me, it's got to be Halsey. Obviously, he's just come back off of, the injury problems. But, I mean, on his day, Halsey's the best left-back there is right now in football for me. I mean, the lad's just absolutely fantastic. He came back into the game just recently, and you could see why we were missing him in the team. He just, clicked immediately. Everything worked perfectly. For me, it's got to be Halsey in at that left-back position. But, I mean, there's many options here that you could choose from the Arsenal side of things as well. I mean, for you guys...
Ricardo Calaflori is our left-back now. And Miles Lewis-Skelly. But Lewis-Skelly's not been playing out all this season. Arteta has benched him for Calaflori. Calaflori's been playing well this season. The first couple of games he looked really good, but there's still that doubt of him about him defensively and out of position all the time. That's a big thing with Calaflori. But I love Lewis-Skelly. Last year, 17, 18 years of very, stepping up like that, the way he did last season. But based on this season, you can't put him in because he's barely he's not been starting a Premier League game. He's came off the bench a few times. So yeah, it's gonna have to be Lewis Hall for you lot, I think.
Halsey, do you agree with that, Lucamia?
Yeah, I probably have to go with Lewis Hall because look, Calaflori for me, right? Even for the Azazuri, Calaflori, he's actually been very impressive. But I thought the Man City game he was poor, right? Like some of those crosses he made in the box, especially in the first half and majority of the second half, you have to go with Lewis Hall.
Yeah. So Lewis Hall's in at the left back. So far we've got David Ria, Tino Livramento, Gabriel, Byrne, and Lewis Hall. That takes one to the midfield, and obviously you know who I'm going to be picking here. Sandro, Bruno, Big Joe are the options from this centre of midfield area. Obviously, you've got the likes of Ødegaard in there, Rice in there.
Zubimendi.
Yeah, Zubimendi in there as well. Mikel Merino can play there, but like Lucas said, he's not the biggest fan of him in that position.
Eze can play attacking midfield as well.
Yeah. So out them options, lads, who would you be picking?
Bruno gets in straight away for you lot. Bruno all day long. I wanted that guy at Arsenal for years, by the way. He's absolutely top class. Absolute shithouse, but in a good way. I want that on my team. I want someone who actually grabs a game by a scruff of the neck, a bit of physicality. Yeah, so Bruno gets in all day long. I love Tonali as well. I think he's top class. We're watching him a lot for Italy as well. I think that's been a really good signing for you lot. To be honest with you, like Arsenal's midfield has been a bit... Declan Rice's been off it this season so far. He's not the same player. I think that's because Arteta is using him out. Arteta is using him as an 8 when he's, for me, a number 6. I think we need to play him as number 6. I think Zubimendi's looked good this season. He's looked promising, but I still think we need to see a bit more of him. Ødegaard's been injured, but he's not been... I mean, he's been trashed for about a year now. So, honestly, mate, I think Tonali gets in as well with Bruno.
Do you agree with that, Luca? Or?
For me, you have to go with Bruno Guimarães because Bruno Guimarães, look, to talk about him in midfield, he is a powerhouse. Like Arsenal, we need someone like that in the midfield. And I know we've got people like Declan Rice and Zubimendi, and we were after Bruno Guimarães. We were after this guy for quite a few years sometime before you guys got him. And I know Man City are still sniffing around for him for the future. But you have to put Bruno Guimarães in there. Like even if you're doing a combined 11 with Newcastle and Arsenal, you cannot take out Bruno Guimarães. So I'm going with Guimarães.
Yeah, and for the other two positions, do you agree with Josh there saying about Sandro?
I probably have to go with Tonali in there as well. But doesn't Declan Rice not get in there?
I'd go, for me, the midfield three I'll go is Rice, Tonali, Bruno. Or
Rice, Tonali,
Tonali, Bruno, or Eze, because Eze can play attacking midfield. If you
Yeah,
want to play
yeah.
attacking midfield. So one of the two. But I think Bruno and Tonali, based on last season, this season as well so far, I think they both have got to get in. Ødegaard's been awful. Yeah, and Suzumeli just came in. You can't really put him straight away. Still got a lot to prove. Rice or Eze, I think it's the other one who gets in.
What do you think, Luca?
Yeah,
You're
well, look, for me,
deciding.
I'd probably go with Declan Rice, Bruno, and Tonali in there because you can have Bruno in there, obviously doing the dictate play. Then you can have Rice in the six, Tonali obviously taking the free kicks. So yeah, I'll go with that three. That's probably the strongest three.
So in the midfield, it's Tonali, Bruno, and Rice for the midfield. All in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Moving on to the right wing, that brings one to some very tasty players. Anthony Elanga, Bukayo Saka, Nodi Madueke, of course, can play there, but obviously isn't going to be fit for this game. You've got a lot of other players in there as well.
Murphy as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the likes of Murphy in there as well. Can Martinelli play on the right wing as well? Or is he more of a left wing?
He's more left wing. Yeah, more left winger.
So out of them options, lads, which ones would you choose?
For me, my three I'll have to go for is Saka on the right,
Yeah,
Gordon on the left, and Victor Gyökeres up top.
good choices. Josh, mate?
For me, on the right, I think it's got to be Saka. However, Murphy, I think I've been impressed with him, for you boys over the recent seasons as well. I think he's done well for you lot. Alanga's came in as well. I think I watched the game against Barca and he looked promising, man. He's quite quick, isn't he, as well, Alanga, which is really,
very fast.
Yeah, he's rapid, which is really beneficial for you lot, and he could cause some problems if he does play against us on Sunday. But yeah, Saka for me is Saka. He has got on the right. Left-hand side, see, the thing is, our left wingers are not great. Martinelli, Trossard, they're just not good enough, to be honest with you. So you can have whoever you want on the left. Take your pick, Gordon, whoever you want. I actually think we were looking at Gordon in January. We've been having him on our radar. So
yeah,
you can have him in there, whoever you want on the left. And then striker is probably got to be Gyökeres for me as well. Obviously, it would have been Isak if he was still. It would have been Isak, but I think Victor Gyökeres, of course, Woltemade. We have to see what he's all about. If you have as the season goes on. Obviously, he came in and he scored in his first game for you lot, didn't he? Against Wolves, wasn't it? So
against Wolves, really good goal.
Yeah, really good goal. So he could be promising, but I think Gyökeres, Gordon, and Saka will be my front three.
Yeah, I'd agree with. I'd agree with that. That's a really good front three. Saka in it right. Put Gordon, of course, over on that left, and of course, hope I spell this right. There we go. And Gyökeres in at the striker. So that is the combined Arsenal and, of course, Newcastle 11 on Newcastle Arsenal 11. David Raya in goal. Tino Livramento right back. Gabriel, of course, and Burn in the centre backs. Halsey at left back. Sandro, Bruno, and Declan Rice in the centre of midfield. Saka, Gordon, and Gyökeres in the front three. So really good. Combined 11 there, quite balanced as well between the teams. So did really, really well at that one. But yep, let's move on to, of course, the score prediction, lads, to see out the video, and then we'll head out of here. So, score predictions, lads.
For me, look, this is going to be a difficult game. As I said at the beginning of the game, beginning of the stream, sorry. this is gonna. It's all about the midfield. It's all about whether we can obviously. It's all about the starting 11. It's all about how Mikel Arteta sets.
Yeah.
You need to play people like Eze in the 10, and I know it worked. He played in the 10 in that attacking midfield against a League One opposition, Port Vale, but you've got to go with the right 11 because you've got to be on your mindset. It's no good, obviously, being not on task against a very good Newcastle side, and this is probably Newcastle's best midfield in probably a long time. And especially when you've got midfielders like monsters and midfielders in there, like who can dictate the play in that, like Guimarães, Tonali, Joe Linton, them not there. I'm not feeling it this weekend. I really hate being negative and all that stuff. It's just part of me being negative. I've got this feeling it's going to be a draw in this game, like a 1-1 draw. I just feel like we're going to I think you guys are going to score first, and then it's going to be such a frustrating game. We'll get luck. It'll be similar to the Man City game. Like, I've got a 1-1 all over. I think he's got 1-1 all over. I'm not confident getting 3 points, but if he starts Eze and he plays like he did against the League One side, I think we can nick it 2-1. But I'm going 1-1, man. I'll be very surprised if Mikel Arteta starts Eze in this game.
Yeah, some good shouts there from you, Luca, mate. 1-1's not bad score prediction either with how tight this game's going to be. I mean, we'll see how it happens on Sunday. Josh, mate, what's your score prediction?
I've gone draw as well, as I said a bit earlier on in the stream, and I've gone goalless, 0-0. I think Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0. I think both of us can really defend really well. I think we're going to struggle to break you lot down. I think you make it frustrating. I think it's be a physical battle. I think it's be a very physical game. But I think we've got a really good defense this season, and we have done so. I think we'll hold you out, but it won't be enough. I think for us, it'll be a bad result. I don't know about if you guys will take a draw, yourself at home, but for us, it's going to be a bad result because we're already 5 points behind Liverpool right now as it is. So, and they played before us. I think they played Palace. So we're going to find out if we drop points again or even lose. Yeah, it's not going to look good. So I'm going goalless, man. 0-0 draw. Hopefully I'm proved wrong and we beat you guys.
I hope that's not the case. I hope that we don't lose this game. We could really do with getting the wins on the board as well coming into the game. And I'm going to be a little bit more positive. I'm going to back my lads, and I'm going to go with not a very convincing win. I think it is going to be a really tight game. It's obviously going to be dictated by that midfield battle, as it always is. And I think, I'm going to go with Newcastle to come away 1-0 winners in the game. I think maybe it's a late goal in the game by Nick Woltemade against Arsenal. I'm really liking the look of that lad. Of course, it could possibly be, Asul maybe he's off of the bench as well because he's starting to get them shooting boots going. So it could either be, Woltemade or Asul off of the bench scoring the goal, but definitely going with a 1-0 against Arsenal. I think it's a fair scoreline considering, what this game's usually like. But saying that, we've done some really good stuff last season in the Carabao Cup against Arsenal, so it could easily be different, and I'd love to be proved wrong on it, and we'll come away with a bigger win than 1-0. But that's my score prediction: 1-0 Newcastle, Nick Woltemade or Will Asula scoring in the game. Before we head out, lads, do you want to give a shout out to where people can find your channels?
Go on, Luca. You go first.
Oh, thank you, man. Subscribe to my channel, Luca Talks Dons. Content-wise, coming up tomorrow, obviously we know what comes up on Saturday. Match day vlog tomorrow. Off to Shropshire tomorrow, off to Shrewsbury, and then just other videos, content coming up. So just thanks for having me on as always. And I'll look forward to the game on Sunday.
Yeah, no worries, mate. As always, thanks for coming on. Josh, mate.
Yeah, firstly, Carl, thanks so much for having me once on again, man. Always a pleasure when we do this every year, of course. And really enjoyed the stream today as well. And make sure you guys watching, you hit like on the video and on the stream and subscribe if you haven't already. And support Carl's channel. He's doing amazing things as always, man. So bless up yourself. But yeah, you can find me at obviously TrueGooner. We are now 16.7k subscribers, so on the road to 17,000 daily Arsenal content. And yeah, we do watch-alongs, match reactions, previews, all that stuff. And I'm also in the Content Awards final for 2025 this year. So if anyone could vote, you know, you don't have to. If you guys enjoy the content, you guys vote for me for that one, and we hopefully can win an award this year. So yeah, for best young content creator. So yeah, thanks for having me on once again, man. Really enjoyed it. And made the best team win as well. And good luck for the rest of the season.
Good luck.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, as always, it's a pleasure having you both on the channel to talk. Always love having you come on the channel to talk about the football, of course, especially when you play against yourselves. And yeah, congratulations on getting into that awards, Josh, mate, and hopefully you come out on top in that one and win it. But yeah, we're heading out now, lads. Remember to hit that like Josh said. Go support the other lads as well, Josh and Lucas channels. And we are out of here. However, lads.